Hopefully this is better. Having some issues with my software that I'm using at the moment. So hopefully I'm coming through all right. All right, welcome to another cheeky little stream. So I've done some work offline to paint this Inner Circle Companions black as per requested. Unfortunately, this guy's sword's a little wonky. Don't know why. I've tried bending it back. I think that's literally just how it came. So you can have a little wonky sword. It's fine. I'm not going to stretch it too much, otherwise we could end up with a little breakage, which would be no good. Oh no, I updated the title too. What's going on here? It was called Hello Guys, What's Happening? Thanks for... I had some streaming issues before, so I had to restart. So it obviously didn't do the title. We are calling this Cheeky Friday Hobby Sesh. Episode 14, baby. Thank you, Nemanichu, for the pickup. Let's go. Alright, Liam, how are you, mate? Bun Blood. G'day. Dagon, how are ya? Mediocre Painter. What's been cracking? So, I don't know if you guys caught it, because it might have been on the other stream, and I think I did it when we started off. But anyway, a bit of a recap. So I painted some stuff since we last hopped on YouTube. So this is what we're doing. Yes, Black Inner Circle Companion. So as requested, this is where we finished off one time. After feedback from the client, he's asked for black power armor instead of green. So that is what we will be going with now, moving forward. The black power armor for the Inner Circle Companions. Everything else will remain the same. So off screen, earlier today, I prepped up the other guys, which I had prepped green, but now they're prepped black. And I don't know if the camera's doing it justice, but it is slightly volumetrically highlighted. So it is darker in the shadows and lighter on the top. So that's what we're going to use as our base, and then all we really need to do is give it a wash, which I'm thinking is a black sort of oil wash, which will tone everything down, and then we'll edge highlight it with a nice grey colour. Cran, what's his name? He doesn't have a name. He can be Steve. Let's call this guy Steve. So yes, we're going to see if we can get close to finishing Steve this evening. See how we go. Am I going to redo the other one? I never an issue. I definitely will. I'll have to go back and do that at some point. I don't know how I'm going to tackle it without redoing the whole model to keep it in line, because obviously I've used the airbrush with the black, but we'll see. And Mediocre Painter, hello my friend, painting some aggressors currently whilst watching. Hell yeah, I love it. Good stuff. Okay. So what I'm going to do to continue on with this Steve fellow, I might just continue picking out the white bits of the iconography. So I'll grab a bit of white paint on my wet palette and a bit of water. I haven't changed out my dirty paint water, and it's red, so I don't want to mix the red paint with white because it's very noticeable. So I've got a clean little bottle that I can just squeeze out clean water when I need to. Okay. Do you have Adeptus Custodes? Asked Kevin. I don't, unfortunately, my friend. Don't have those guys to show. I've only painted up a couple in my time in the hobby, but they offer a commission, so I don't even have them to show you in person. Sorry. Let's see if I can just artificially make some of those wings put on there, because it seems to be lost with some of the details. Yes, this is Steve, the wonky sworded marine. But obviously he's done well for himself to stay alive this long. I reckon he's one of the fallen dudes that's been around for like 10,000 years. Or the Risen, they're called now, aren't they? Something like that. One of those names. Might have to give my brushes a nice clean at some point. I feel like the tips of them are starting to get a bit gunky. And that ain't good if you're trying to paint fine details. There we go. That doesn't look too bad. The one and only Steve. Goram, another certified Dark Angels banger. Hell yeah, dude. Lorenzo, good. Thanks. Exactly, Dagon. He's just been to battle too many times that his sword is just, you know, it's now like a badge of honor that he's got the wonky sword. It's like a relic, you know. His sword was bent in the flames of battle. That's exactly right. If you're not going to use it, what's the point? Clearly he's been using it to the best of his ability. Who steals soap? Looks great. Thank you very much, dude. So I added a slight bit of grey to this particular mix because I want to highlight the edges of this with the white. Rather than paint the whole thing just like a pure white color. Like that. Millie the goat, what's up, dude? Yeah, not a lot. Just here for another cheeky little hobby sesh. How are you, my friend? Goram. By the way, the gold looks amazing. What's the recipe? The recipe is this single paint right here, Necro Gold. That's all we've put on it so far. So you too can have the same results in one quick and easy step. Got a bit on the black armor there. Tidy that up real quick. Just do a little bit of that edge highlighting that I was just talking about with pure white, just to really make the features kind of pop. Like so. That's good. I'll take that. Now I don't know if you guys can see, but it's really hard to get to his Aquila in there, so I'm just going to put in a couple of random dots to give the illusion like it's painted, but there's no way I can get in here effectively and paint it like I would normally. It's just too much in the way. I'll be gone as of Monday for a week. Oh no, Never Chew. That's alright, mate. we'll be here waiting for you when you return. Pilk, you joined late. This looks sick. You didn't join late, mate. I've only been live for about 10 minutes, so I'm just picking up from where I left off online. But to give you a comparison of where I've been previously, this is kind of what we've been working off, just like a dude kind of primed with the black, and then given some highlighting with an airbrush, very subtle highlighting, and then we just picked out the details with the paintbrush. And this looks sick. Does the set come with paints? It doesn't, unfortunately. You need to buy paints sold separately. Everything else is sold separately as well. It'd be good if they all came together, but Games Workshop like money, so they want to make you spend as much as possible. So I'm just having a quick little think. Let's pick out some of the silver bits. There's not much silver on this model. Liam, thank you very much. Yeah, thank you, Millie. There's paint all over your phone. You're a bit of a messy painter when it comes to undercoating. Look, mate, I will forgive you for that. I also got paint all over my phone and my legs the other day because I was stripping paint, and like with a toothbrush I was scrubbing it and all the particles were going everywhere and I didn't notice until I looked at my phone screen and there was just random paint splodges in my legs. So that shit happens. Yeah, Liam, exactly. I've been loving the work in progress in the Discord too. People got some great stuff in there. Keep it up. That reminds me, we'll try not to spam it, but I've got a Discord for anyone who's watching. I'll pull up the link and drop it in the chat. You can also find it in the description of the video if you're keen to hop in and talk all things hobby with us. So, silver, let's pick it out on his gun holster. It almost looks like it's running the whole way up, so we'll paint that silver too, now that I'm looking at that. Indeed it is, Inner Circle Companion. It is going well, thank you very much, and hello to you as well. Dagon, I don't know why you can't join. Everyone else seems to be able to get in, mate. Not sure what the issue there is. Wish I could help you. It's making my computer better so I can see things. There we go. Sick. Little skull. Pick out the rest of the Dark Angel iconography in silver. Like so. Potion of Motion. Grey Knights are greater than Custodians. Ooh, contentious comment there. Them's are fighting words. I'm staying out of that. Jake, you just got home. I'm happy to see it alive. I'm happy to see you here, mate. Thanks for joining. I'll pick out a little bit here, this little sword on his Duvalaki or whatever the hell this thing is called. Just to add a bit of interest there. And his belt buckle, of course, hidden behind this. Luke, you know it's coming.
Blood for the blood god, skulls for the skull fairy.
Hell yeah. Can you paint guardsmen at some point, please? Maybe at some point, mate. I need to get my hands on some. I don't own any guardsmen boxes or models, so if I can find the time and money to go get some, you might just see some. But at the moment I've got a few projects to work through, so I need to one thing at a time, otherwise that's how piles of shame start, you know? Gotta get through what we got first. Sawyer, can't stick around, but it's amazing paint job, good stuff. Thank you, dude. I really appreciate it. But no need to be sorry if you can't stick around. I will be here if you ever swing back around. Just doing some touch-ups with the gold in a few areas that I've noticed were missing a lick of paint. Do you often do custom painted minis, or do you like to stick to basics? Pilk, in terms of like custom minis, do you mean like different schemes, or just like the lore schemes when you're talking about basic? I don't know what you're trying to say there. Aussie, indeed. Tony, hope you're thinning your paints. Of course, mate. It's a crime not to. Punishable by exterminatus. Yeah, I might like to paint Kathy, Death Corpse, and Creed. I would like to paint those guys at some point. Really like get a muddy looking base on them too, I reckon would look really cool. Okay, so to keep things rolling with our dude here, I think it's probably time to give it a wash of black. And we're not just going to put a null oil wash, we're going to use an oil wash because it's going to find all the recesses, slightly darken the current black as well, and then we can rub away the areas that we don't want it to stay. So you guys know the drill. I'm going to put my wet palette away. I'm going to whip out Nurgle's palette, aka my oil paint and enamel wash palette. And this is why it's called Nurgle's palette, because it's gross, but it doesn't need cleaning because it's oil paint. So instead of using my go-to, which is normally streaking grime, what we're going to do here is use some of this. So this is Smoke from Abtalung 502, which is an oil paint. We're going to get a little bit of it out and make a black wash with it. Is this a model for a commission or one of your own personal pieces? Jake, it is a commission piece that I'm working on. So on the other streams, we've painted up some Death Wing themed Blade Guard veterans, like so. And we'll continue to paint a few more. We did complete an inner circle the other day, but the client has now requested black armor. So that's why we're doing black armored ones going forward, and this guy will need to get touched up to fit in with the rest. And have some Stern Guard veterans painted up in the Death Wing color scheme as well. But they are put away, so I can't get them out for you, unfortunately. But they pretty much look the same as the Blade Guard veterans that you saw, same color. So I've put a little bit of oil paint there. You know the drill here, odorless thinner to thin down oils and enamels. What kind of brush am I using? I am using, for when I'm painting details, my Raphael Kolinsky Sables size 0 and size 1 brushes. And I use, you'll see it in a second, a really manky old brush for using oils and enamels. And I'm just getting a nice mix here on my palette, just doing it off screen. And this will hopefully allow for a nice quick wash. I might even add a tad more oil paint.
It's actually quite thin. What does your paint taste like? Depends on the color, mate. Some tastes, red, a bit more strawberry flavored, gold. It's like, let's say more like a pineapple. Tastes like rainbow, dude. But please, paint breeders. One day, dude, one day, I'll get there. And trying to find that balance. Now I've gone too thick on the paint, so I'm gonna fill it once more. Hello Ray, how are you? Help, if you were to paint this guy, would you stick to box art or make your own custom paint scheme? I don't mind the box art color. I don't like the box art style for Death Guard. I like a really grim, dark, rusted effect. That's kind of my painting style. I lean more to that style, just naturally. And I think Death Guard, like, really benefit from that effect. For sure. In terms of actual colors, I don't mind the green. I would go for that, but I also like the pre-heresy kind of like pale armor too. I think that looks really cool. So this is just a light wash that we're giving this guy with the smoke color, and given it is a oil paint, we can just rub it off as well. I find that it dries quick as the enamel paints, but that's okay. We can still get a good use out of it, or it prevents us from ripping on too much. But I don't really let it dry too much for the areas where I don't want it, like all these flat, high-raised surfaces. As you can see, I'm just kind of wiping it off straight away. But it still kind of stains, which is what we wanted to do, slightly stains the armor and the cloth to make it a tad darker in areas. Same with the gold, as you can see in those recesses. This helps to add a bit more definition. For the grandfather? Hell yeah. Oh, sorry guys, my chat wasn't scrolling. I missed a heap of these. Bloody hell. Say Schiffer's wise words. Let's see. How did you book me for commission work? I'm not taking on any at the moment, unfortunately. Sorry, mate. I've got a big backlog to get through. I normally just go out, or you can feel free to DM me and stuff, but yeah, at the moment I'm not taking on any more because I have too much to paint. What Warhammer do I play? Formula 1. I don't play any Warhammer. I actually just paint. That's where I get my enjoyment out of the hobby. And I've got a request here. People want the heresy voice.
Wait, have I had the demon voice
The whole time? What's been going on here? Have you guys been listening to me in a demon voice the whole time? That's hilarious. I just got possessed by Corn for a little while and didn't even know. That's hilarious. Not sure why that was. That's hilarious. People want me to paint a Lehman Russ tank. Maybe one day. I think vehicles are okay, but I feel like they're a little bit boring. The Titans are better because there's more details and stuff on them. But yeah, just like a repulsor and stuff, they're a bit like bland, you know? Or is that just me? I can't believe I had that on. I wonder how long that was going for. We're gonna have to leave this guy to dry for a bit. And let that oil paint, yeah, just dry. I could speed it up with a hairdryer, which I have done before, but that's not very enjoyable to watch. So what we could probably do in the meantime while this guy is drying is we'll pick up another one. Start doing some of that. So Nurgle's palette can go away. And we'll bring back out the wet palette. Put it back on. It comes out in special occasions. Corn he wanted to express his love through my voice for some unknown reason. It's beyond me, beyond my comprehension. Alrighty, so I think we'll slap down a base coat for his cloak, and we'll be doing dark burgundy for Pro Acryl for this. For the Lion, Trenton, hell yeah, son of the Lion, Mr. L. Johnson himself. Do I have Banana Men? I do not, unfortunately. Credence? Do not. Another person who wants to see me paint salamanders, hey? Seems to be a common thread in a lot of my streams. So many salamanders lovers. What is it about salamanders that you guys love so much? It's because they're really good guys, you know? Just kind-hearted? Are you all just, you know, lovers, not fighters? Five minutes? Fuck. It was on for 5 minutes. That's hilarious. I didn't even see it either. Like, at the same time, the chat stopped, like, scrolling for me, so I had no idea that it was on. Lol. You've got 2 coats on the aggressors. I don't know why, but it looks like they still need another 4. It's a bit of light primer. That's it. At least you're painting thin enough that you have to put more on. Be better than putting it on too thick and then obscuring details. So no stress there, dude. And Commissar Alfie, do the blade. There's a method to my madness, mate. Method to my madness. Give me 1 second, guys. I've got my girlfriend here. It'll be like 2 secs. good night to my girlfriend and reminded that I need to use my inside voice when people are trying to sleep. Get too carried away, you know, start yelling, waking up the whole neighborhood. Yeah, it's the Nurgle palette that did the voice. That's exactly right, I never did too. Give us the Space Marine if you're going to put a voice on. Oh, you like the Space Marine voice?
For the Emperor, what is your duty? To live, serve, and die in his name.
Is that better? Is that what you wanted? No worries, Pilk, you are off. See you, dude. If you get back, we'll see you then. If not, I'll see you another time. All the best, my friend. You need an official sign or sticker for Nurgle's palette. Hey, that's a good idea. Maybe we'll look at doing that. Or a sound effect. Ooh, I think I've got the exact sound effect when it makes an appearance.
What are you
That
doing
one.
in my swamp?
I reckon. You love your Bernie boys? Yeah, there's a lot of love for the Bernie boys. Have you seen the Gaunt's Ghosts? I think they are cool. Have a look and please paint them. I haven't. I'll have to have a look later. Commissar Alfie, Gaunt's Ghosts. Can't say I've seen them, unfortunately. The other one, what do you do when you mess up your paint? You do this. And then fix it. If you can be quick, use a wet paintbrush and rub it away straight away. Otherwise, you just have to go back and patch it up. That's how I deal with my errors. Football hooligans are the best. And I'm a newbie painter and my results aren't bad, but nowhere near as good as I see here. What brushes are you using? Legend, that's alright, dude. I mean, you've got to start somewhere, and you will only get better. So keep practicing. The brushes I'm using are Kalinsky Sable Raphael brushes. Raphael Kalinsky Sable, sizes 1 and sizes 0. I use my size 0 the most, to be fair. I really only whip out the size 1 if I'm doing large surfaces. But for this model, I would paint the whole thing using my size 0. What is your opinion on Blueberry Marines? I fucking love it. I love the blue. Love painting blue. It's like vibrant as. And when it has a bit of red and the contrast in it, I think it really pops. And then blood also looks really good on their regular Marines, because it's that pop of red as well. So yes, I like them. You're sticking to WizKid, scared of messing up on Games Workshop. Hey, don't be scared, mate, because you can always strip the paint back. That's what I've said a few times on my stream to people who don't want to mess up or ruin expensive Games Workshop models. You can just strip the paint if you mess it up. But don't strip your first ever model, because you want to keep that as a reminder for progress. In 2 years' time, when you look back and say, this is my first model, look at it now compared to where I am. It's a good little reminder. I wish I had that, and I don't. But I still have a kind of old model for when I was younger, but definitely not my first one. The first one is lost to the warp. No one knows where he is. think the chat's still behind. It is a little bit. I'm trying to, it must be. But I'm also trying to paint and catch up. So I do read it a little bit slower than instantaneous, because otherwise I'll be constantly reading and doing no painting. A lot of Nurgle fans, a lot of Salamanders fans as well. Something with green armor, you know, must be something in the water. And Dark Angels too, you know, trifecta, 3 green armor dudes. Dan, everyone's doing Dark Angels these days. Salamanders guy, another one, bloody hell, look at them all. Yeah, we got like heaps in the chat. So good, guys. If you guys are interested, if you're new here, we've got a little Discord. I've popped the link in there. Just started it up, and it's a place where you can share photos of your models, your works in progress, your finished masterpieces, or if you want to share some tips and tricks with other hobbyists. Jump on in and partake in the Hobby Fiend painting pit. Liam Hurst, no worries, mate. You head off. I'll see you over there, and thank you for stopping by and being a legend. Custodes painting gold and red. Done. Yeah. I mean, you could spend ages. Why don't you paint it all in non-metallic metal? Try that. That would take a while, I reckon. Ghidorah Gaming. Definitely improved over a year. At first I was just using contrast and the paint got all splotchy somehow. I was just painting a Night Lord Terminator today, which took 4 hours. Exactly, dude. See the progress? I think contrast paint is really good for people to get into the hobby and just have a bit of fun and see a finished model. But to improve over time, you need to branch out and not use contrast paints, or only use it selectively in areas. Because using proper acrylic paints teaches you about light placement, proper placement, and brush control and all that sort of stuff, which is key if you want to improve. Too many heretics in the chat. Oh look, there's a fair bit. We've got a lot of heresy in the chat. It's kind of even split tonight. I feel like it's not swayed any one way. That's pretty good for a single coat, actually. I'm just looking back at our old mate and seeing like he's going to take ages to dry, because it's not like the enamel washes that we've used in other videos. So he's going to stay shiny for a little while. So I don't know if we'll get back to him on another stream. Until another stream, I should say. So in the meantime, let's continue focusing on this dude. We're going to paint the inner cloak bits using Bane Blade Brown. So let's do that. Jake Smith, your favorite chapters are Red Scorpions and Space Sharks. Nice. Some successor chapters. I like it. All those mysterious ones. A bit of mystery. Commissar Alpha, you're off. No worries, my friend. Thank you for hanging around for so long. Appreciate you. Probably come back and give that a second coat, I think. I don't want to force it and put it on too thick just yet. But using the same paint anyway, we can paint some of these purity seals, give them a bit of a base coat as well. What do we get here? Also got a bunch of buddies kind of nagging me about wet palettes, and personally I found my minis look better with just a plain old palette. I would jump on the bandwagon with your buddies. I am a big advocate of a wet palette. When I first began, I used a plain old ceramic tile. But to improve as a painter, the wet palette will significantly help you, because your paints are obviously going to stay wet for a lot longer, so you're not going through your products as quickly. And it helps with mixing, because they're able to be worked for longer. And it helps you get a consistent thinness to your paints, because if you thin your paints on a ceramic tile or a normal palette, it will evaporate way too quickly for you to get proper use out of it. So 100% on the bandwagon of your friends there, mate. I love it. Chat's going off. You guys are sick. Ghidorah, I've got a good question. What would you say are your top 5 paints? Oh, that is a tricky question. I don't know if I could narrow it down to that. I have to say that if I had to choose one at the moment, that's just a fantastic all-rounder. It's so boring, but it's this one here. Vallejo Model Color Black. I would say that this is the best black paint on the market. And for white, it would be this one. Bold Titanium White from Pro Acryl. All the rest, hit and miss, depending on what you're after. And I do very much like this Necro Gold, which we are going to be painting the gold trim with. So let's do some of that. Prime your minis. Bro, these are primed, mate. I don't know what you're talking about. I have no idea what you're talking about. Does this look like grey to you? Look at the difference. Look at the difference between an unprimed mini and one here. I think you need glasses, mate. Is Mechanicus Standard Grey a good primer? It's okay. I actually think the Games Workshop primers are pretty good, to be honest. I use Chaos Black for pretty much all my minis. And have started using matte black from the Colourforge, as it's pretty much exactly like Chaos Black, but you get more in the can. But unfortunately, it's pretty much sold out in Australia. Come on, why is everyone going gaga over Angels chapters these days? Why not, Dan? Why not? It's probably because the Dark Angels got new models recently. The Blood Angels got an update. Kind of makes sense. When they get new models, people froth over them. That's why people are frothing over the Space Wolves as well. Myself included. He was right all along. What is this? Let it go. He's got a method to his madness, trust. Yeah. That's it. There is always a method to my madness. Is that Necro Gold again? It sure is, Nevenichu. The Necro Gold has made an appearance once more. I would add that into probably one of the top paints. I've used it a lot. The coverage is great, and the color is also great. It's just a bit of an alternative to like that really warm look. So if you're ever wanting to get a cool tone gold, this is your go-to. I have the hands of a surgeon. If only I had the skills as well, I'd be earning a lot more. I'd be rich, you know. Unfortunately not. But I feel like painting Warhammer minis is a lot more fun than being a surgeon, to be honest. My brother, you're painting the Librarian Space Marine chapter for the Emperor. Why not? Books are cool. Or are you talking about librarians as in like the actual librarians that are part of it? Because in that case, wouldn't that be like the Blood Ravens? They've got a shit ton of librarians. This isn't a librarian, nah, dude. This is an inner circle companion. Mars, thanks for stopping by, dude. I'm glad you like him. Erebus, not a fan of Zenithal priming, question mark. I am a massive fan of Zenithal priming. You probably can't see it on stream, but this is Zenithal primed in black, so it's lighter up here, it is darker underneath, because I've already kind of laid out how I want the black to look. It will end up looking similar to this a little bit. And this. So I don't know, it doesn't pick it up as much on stream, but it's there. Obliterate Erebus. Yeah, what's he doing here? Get the heretic out of here. Just kidding. Or am I? Oh yes, his little trinket Duvalaki thing. That's right, we did the same on gold. Let's keep it in line with the rest of the minis. Like so. I painted that silver before, but because it's exposed, I reckon the gold will look nice there too. So let's do that. Get more of the handle as well. You think the Games Workshop should make Custodes models bigger? The Primaris are literally the same height. Yeah, that's the problem with obviously upscaling and stuff. Like I feel like the Chaos Space Marines as well should be the same height. I think they all should be same height. Like all the models, except obviously like an Imperial Guard, because they're not enhanced, but like all the enhanced models should be kind of reflective of the lore, I suppose. And I mean, it makes sense with the Chaos guys because Primaris are, you know, newer, but it is what it is. It's still fun to paint. What do we get here? I think it's getting ready to bring Vulcan back. I forgot to ask, how was the day off, my guy? Dude, it was so good. It was full of cleaning the house, talking to a tradie, all the adult stuff, you know. I didn't get a whole bunch of time to paint. I got a little bit of time to paint offline, but not a whole bunch. Yo, boy, Andre, that is some heretical shit. Careful. The guys in the chat will be after you. Any recommendations for brighter reds than the almost pink corn red? I actually don't mind corn red as a paint. If you're highlighting, I would then go up to like Evil Sun Scarlet. That's a pretty good red. If you're wanting a red that looks like this, which is still bright but very easy to paint, you just use like a white Zenithal Prime, and I used 2 coats of Slaughter Red Speed paint from the Armored Painter, and that was the result. And then I highlighted it with Wild Rider Red, I think, edge highlights, and that's the result. Ezra, it looks really good. I like how the gold looks a bit dulled by the black base. Oh, thank you. This is another guy we painted. He's very shiny because we put an oil wash, but it's a bit more complete. He's a few steps ahead, but we can't really do much while the oil paint is drying, unfortunately, but we will get back to him at some point. Those inner circle companions, they sure are. They sure are. This chat is such a heretical mess. It is a heretical mess tonight. We got representation from all sides. Loyalist, Trader, and Xenos alike. Would you rather dinner with the Emperor or the power of all 4 Chaos Gods? Oh, yikes. I think you're here to just stir up more drama, hey mate. You really want an interrogation. Immersive gaming, nice control, keeping the model centered on vertical screen. I appreciate that, dude. It's actually quite difficult to try and keep it in this frame and paint so far away from my face. I say it a few times to any regular viewers, they'll hear me say the same thing. But I don't normally paint far away like this, so my skills when painting on screen definitely tank. But keeping it in frame, I'm still not good at it. Sometimes I'll look up and my bottle's like over here, and you guys have been watching nothing for like 5 minutes. That's probably it for the gold, I think, for now. True metallics or non-metallic metal? Medieval Minecrafter, I would say true metallics, just because I'm lazy and my non-metallic metals look like shit. But I do like the look of very well done non-metallic metal, that's for sure. You can get really good results with non-metallic metal though. Sorry, with true metallic. What's your favourite Space Marine chapter? Can't tell you, mate. I don't have one. I like too many to pick a favourite. It's like a parent who has multiple kids, asking them to pick a favourite. Just can't be made, you know, it's too hard. So let's go back. This is dried now. We can probably put a second coat of the brown on the purity seals and the inner cloak bit, so we'll do that real quick. And then I think next we might pick out the iconography in a grey colour, which will then highlight with white, and there'll be the white sort of Dark Angels iconography, the classic look that we all know. You guys are all talking about who you want to have dinner with. So cute. I think the real question there is who's paying if you're going to have dinner with these people. The great big boy, is it better to paint the limbs separately or paint when they're all glued together? I had some trouble fitting my brush on my resin intercessors. So what you're talking about there, dude, is what's called sub-assembly, painting in sub-assembly. And for me personally, it's a lot easier to paint in sub-assembly, which means obviously not glued together and they're in parts. But it's a slower method of painting. So it's, what do you want to get out of it? Do you want to paint faster? If you do and you don't care about getting every single detail, then obviously paint it glued together. But if you're going for a really high quality, painting in sub-assembly is the way to go. Lost Hope miniatures, thank you. I appreciate it. I just noticed this guy has way more purity seals than I first thought. They kind of just blend in with the rest. Completely missed them. So I'm just adding the liquor paint to them. And this kind of wraps around his sword, which is pretty cool. I like that. Nice touch. Thank you, Purette. I appreciate it. Credence, you should paint Gilliman or the lion. I've painted the lion before, mate. I've got some photos, or at least a photo of him on my Discord in my showcase section. And speaking of, if anyone's hanging around and hasn't heard, that is a link. Get in there, join, be part of it, and you can hang out with us, share your models, and chat shit. What would you call your painting style? I have no idea. I haven't actually ever thought of that. Giving it a name. I don't know, it's kind of a blend between box art and grimdark, because I like to use effects, paints and all that sort of stuff and make them look weathered. But this model in particular is not getting that because it is a commission and that's not what the guy wants. He wants more of a clean look. But yeah, interesting question. I don't know what I'd call it, to be honest. It's just how I paint. So we've added that on. For the iconography, we're going to use reddish grey as the base coat. Bad taste bear, just passing by. Have a blessed day, fellow nerds. Thank you, my friend. It's very nice of you. Have a blessed day too. Happy hobbying. Okay. Let's paint some of this. Iconography. Tomato Bro, what chapter is this? This is a Dark Angels Inner Circle Companion. Piotr Jesk, I don't know how to say your name. Try painting the new Saturnine Praetor, best model I've ever painted. Don't know how I did it. Moved on to attaching the Giga shoulders and cloak, and if is impossible, Sadness 100. I'm glad that you've had an enjoyable time painting and had a good result. That's really good to hear. Show us in the Discord. Drop some photos in, put it in the showcase section. We would love to see it. We've had a few people in there sharing all their works, which is good. Get a few people liking the Saturnine look. I'm yet to come around to it. It's okay. But I think I need to see it in person. Personally. I'm stealing the look of these minis for my Space Marines in Space Marine 2. Nice, dude. It's funny. Go away, YouTube. You can never watch too much of a guy painting plastic crack. That's right. We're all plastic crack addicts, aren't we? Alright, so I'm going to whip out the corn red for his rope around his waist and his wax seals. On the purity seals. Once I get my inner circle companions, I'll probably paint them in 30k colors with green robes. Nice, dude. Painting green robes is fun. And you've got Space Marine Rugby. Isn't that like Blood Bowl? That reminds me of like Blood Bowl. American football better. Bruh. That is the hottest take I've heard. American football is trash. Union or league, mate. League all the way. Nah. You Union guys can get out of here. Go the West Tigers. He's being touched by chaos, 100%. 100%. Cowboys over here. I'll give you a pass. Cowboys are not bad. If you said Penrith or the Storm, get out of here. Any tips for new painters? I've been trying to dovetail my first model and it's rough. I prime it black, dry paint, I'm assuming dry brushed, it blue for all my guns. I keep trying to use a thin brush, but it keeps smudging. Prime it black and then you're dry brushing. I don't know what you mean by smudging. Is it like if I'm looking at this, do you mean like it kind of then frays out? You might be pressing too hard. Yeah, I'd need to know a little bit more about that. Cajun spaghetti. League, the only league you can accept is State of Origin. Yeah, I'll let that pass. I'll let that pass. Nah, you want the bear. Bears are inbound. We've got so many people. So many brothers.
Join me, brothers. Join me into battle as we paint one of our fellow brethren from the Dark Angels chapter.
It's good to have you guys all here. It was sick. Can't believe we got up to 200 people watching before. Viper, is there any models you recommend for beginners? The only models I'd recommend for a beginner is whatever you think looks cool. That's what you should go with, because that's what you'll have the most fun painting. If you're asking in terms of simplicity, Space Marines are pretty simplistic in terms of painting, because they're just big shapes. Like if you look at this dude, for example, most of him's one color. There's a bit of gold and a bit of silver and black. That's it. And yes, you can paint him to varying degrees of detail, but overall he's just lots of circles, cylinders, you know. Very easy to start to paint, particularly if you use contrast paints to begin with. You can get a really good looking model very quickly, and you'll have a really good time as a beginner painter to seeing your models look really good. Jason, is your paint too thin? I'm not too sure. Is that a question? Or your paint is too thin? Catching up on a few of these comments here. All Blacks, yeah, I've got the footy chat underway, how good. Blood splatter looks cool. Yeah, thank you, dude. And you like the contrast. Yes, so I'm going to say Kahun. I could be saying it wrong. Or maybe, no, I'll just call you Spaghetti. No matter how thick a paint I use, it either runs or leaves paint outside of where I'm pressing. Example, my brush is only in the joint, but paint keeps getting up on the outside on the arm when it dries. I mean, it might be the size of your brush, like how big is the brush that you're using, because you're obviously then, if you're trying to paint in a crack, you're touching the sides like that unintentionally and maybe not seeing it. That to me just sounds like brush control. So that's something that just comes with practice. So you need to just keep doing it over and over again, keep painting, and you'll get better brush control over time. Without actually physically seeing you paint. But from what you've said, it sounds like you're potentially using a brush that's too big for what you're trying to do. Or it's just your brush control might be slightly off there and you're accidentally smudging to the sides and not even realizing it. So just practice. And what I've done sometimes, you know, like to get better at painting faces, like I will just pick out the spare faces of my Space Marines and just paint those just for fun, you know. Sounds like nerdy, but you know, it's good practice. Try out different techniques, and then it doesn't really matter if you fuck it up because it's not actually staying on a model. You could literally just yeet it into the wall, into the bin if you really wanted to. Don't go doing that, but you could. In Louisiana, Cajun. Yeah, right. Interesting. I would have thought it's to me it looks like a Spanish kind of name, but Cajun. I'll try and remember that for sure. Hell yeah. How big was your lion model? It was the same size as the lion model that you buy. It was straight out of the box. The Primarch himself that I painted up. Ooh, try not to spill. Licking that pencil all day long. Hell yeah, Warp Enigma. Good to see in the chat, dude. Tip, after 35 years of painting, well, I'm losing it. Too many people chatting. It's great. Of painting bad, in brackets, nice. You always have too much paint while dry brushing. You can always dry brush more. But you can never dry brush less. Exactly right. It's like in carpentry. Measure twice, cut once. Same thing with painting. You can always build it up, but it's harder to take it away. And the paints, Bun Blood, are a little treat for me. They taste delicious. A couple more touch-ups on the red here, and then we can probably move on to... what can we move on to? Maybe grabbing some of the leather. Let's do some of that. Gilbert, got some custodies. What do you recommend I should paint them as Solar Watch or Shadow Keepers? Not too sure, sorry mate, about... I don't know what those color schemes actually look like. I don't actually know much of the Custodies lore either. But just on name alone, Shadow Keepers sounds better. For sure. Any Tyrannid people in the chat? Not sure, mate, but we've got a lot of Salamanders and Death Guard lovers in the chat. Nurgle boys. You're welcome, Cajun. Try and look for those errors and try smaller brush. All good. Americanized French. There you go. Didn't know that. You learn something new every day. Very unique name. Did you contrast his cloak? I did not. That's a single base coat. It's weird because it looks shiny and wet, but it's not actually wet. It's this dark burgundy as the base coat. We need to shake it up, and you've just reminded me to go in for a second base coat over that soon. And it will end up looking like this. That's probably not a great example because it looks shiny from the oil paint, but similar to this. After we build up a couple of highlights with it, it will get closer to that as a sort of finished model look. Oh, no worries, Warp Enigma. Thanks for stopping by. You gotta keep that in anger, Abel. Yeah, that's right. I'll try and keep it up. Otherwise, I'll get possessed by Korn again for like 5 minutes and just talk in my demon voice without realizing it. See you, dude. So I can probably pick out that leather now. We're going to use some Mournfang Brown to pick that out. I want to get into the minis, which is more expensive if you know Necrons or Blood Angels Army. I'm not sure, Thomas. I think Games Workshop in the whole is more expensive than most hobbies. I think they're going to try and get the most money out of you as they can. And I don't actually play the game, so I don't know like what you would need to buy to have a good army to verse other people with, and how much that would cost. So maybe someone in the chat might be able to help you. But welcome to the hobby regardless. It is very fun. If you're into the lore, or painting, or just gaming, I reckon you'll have a good time. Opinion on the Alpha Legion. I quite like it. I like the mystery aspect of it all. Plots within plots within plots. Do I thin pro acryl? Sure do. You should thin all your paints. Even the contrast paints I'll slightly thin sometimes. Sometimes I'll do them straight out of the pot. But you should definitely be getting into the habit of thinning your paints. Because then you can start experimenting with like glazes, different types of painting techniques like stippling and all that sort of stuff, where it needs sort of a very thin, almost coloured water is like what you're painting with at some points when you're working really thin. And just by getting into the habit of thinning them, you get better at learning. Nebenichu, what is the difference between speed paints and contrast paints? I don't think there is any difference except for the name. Games Workshop call their paints contrast paints. The Army Painter call them speed paints. But they're the same type, pre-thinned, kind of washed-like thing. So just the difference is in name. Have I painted a Dreadnought? I have back in the day. But not recently. Okay, I forgot a little bit on the shoulder pad, so I'm going to paint that with the grey that we still have on our wet palette. This little like parchment section. Cajun, last tips question. Both me and my friend have the Citadel paints always drying in the bottle. We always try to make sure the lids are sealed, but no luck. Is that a common issue or just us? That is a well-documented issue with those products, and one of the reasons why people dogpile on Games Workshop, because they've been made aware of that issue, yet they still continue to make the paint pots in shitty pots like that don't close properly. And I think the reason is because then you can buy more products from them. If your paint's drying quicker, you've got more reason to go back and buy the paint again. We're getting scammed, boys and girls. We are getting scammed. But yeah, that's why I prefer like some of the alternative brands like this. The dropper bottles, so much better and easier to work with, for sure. Should you chew green stuff before use? I like that. I've never heard that before. 100%, bro. It's like just chewing gum. You know, you get the blue bit, the yellow bit, and you chew it all together in your mouth. Yeah, please don't do that. If anyone is new and has no idea, do not do that. Peter, thank you very much. We're going to move back onto the cloak now and give it a second coat. Shazbotan, what paints are you using? I'm using a shit ton of different paints, my friend. I probably can't name them all here, and they're all from different brands. Yeah, it's too much. I can tell you what I'm using right now. I'm using Pro Acryl Burgundy, dark burgundy, to go in with a second coat. Over the, what do you call it? Robes. Tuning it down on my wet palette a little bit, and let's get into it. What was my first ever model? Nebenichu. It was a Necron warrior. I bought it. It was a box set. That was the first model that I owned. You're actually giving me flashbacks now. The first ever time I stepped into a Warhammer store was when I played a fantasy game with my cousin, with the Games Workshop staff. It was like dwarves versus something. I have no idea what the box set was. And my first actual model, I think, was a dwarf, but I don't remember it. And I don't have it anywhere. But my first owned model, Necrons, for sure. Go soft spot for the robot Skelly Boy overlords of the galaxy. Thank you, Cajun. I appreciate it. But yes, that Pro Acryl paint that I just showed before, you need to shake the shit out of it, otherwise you get some weird shiny effects happening. And that's why we're going in for a second coat. And the second coat normally gets rid of all of that, and you're left with a nice dark burgundy color. But thank you. I appreciate the kind comments, guys. Who is off? I saw that before. Credence, you're off. No worries, my friend. Play well tomorrow. Good luck. I was thinking about the robes. They look cool, but how do they put them on? They're like over and under the armor. We don't think about that. We don't think about that. They're just there. You just accept it. You accept that they're there. And if you must have a solution, I would say the Watchers in the Dark. They go there and they dress the Dark Angels ready for battle. Shazbotan is moving over to the War Paints Fanatic line. You like the green on your Dark Angels Lieutenant. Very nice. Yeah, I think their line of paints are really good. They did a really good refresh job on their paint line, because it used to be dog shit. But now it's quite good from the paints that I've picked up and used. I rate it. Cool. It's looking good. Happy with that. Battle Pass box. Best starter games. That's the one. That is the one. The Battle for the Pass. Yeah. It had like, I remember a dwarf picture on it. And they were versing the goblins, I'm pretty sure. It was goblins versus dwarfs. Like the little guys with the moon shields. Yep, that's it. That's the one for sure. Is it late for me? It is. It's nearly midnight. Shit. So probably can't stay on much longer. You just reminded me, Nevenichu. Robbo, did I make that? Looks really good. Thank you. I didn't build it. This one was sent to me pre-made. I'm just painting it up for someone. But you can build them. Definitely can. What are we going to do now? Let's go in and paint the iconography like we did on the other dude. Cajun, it's 9 AM, ready for work in America. No worries. You have an awesome day too, my friend. Thanks for stopping by and hanging out. It's been sick. I might try and go live tomorrow as well for some of you guys in America and the other side of the world where it's only just becoming Friday for you now. Might be better if I go later tomorrow. At least that'll be your Saturday then, I think. Never need to, you're off. No worries, my friend. Thank you so much for sticking around as per usual. You're a legend. Take care, dude. Santo, thank you very much. I could pick out these individually, but that might be a bit tedious. I'm just going to go this one for now. The one on his shoulder pad. Highlight this up. I missed this wax seal as well. God, I'm not doing a good job of picking out all the details tonight. Bloody hell. Mr. C, I'm staying to learn layering. Always struggle to not have it as hard split between gradients. Yeah, that's it, dude. You just got to practice those different techniques. Take the time, put in the effort, and you will get better for sure. There we go. I'm happy with that. That looks decent. Would I paint any old world minis? I definitely would. I wouldn't go out and buy them though, personally. I'm not paying money for old sculpts. If they landed in my lap, sure, but I don't have any interest in purchasing them. Particularly when they cost the same as like brand new models as well. We're getting there. I wish we could have finished this guy on stream. It's just a shame because we're not using an enamel paint. We had to use the oil wash, and the oil just takes so much longer than the enamel to dry. He looks very shiny, doesn't he? Very clean. Maybe he's just jumped out of the shower. Wagwan, my G. Hope you're doing well. Jamar, I am very well, thanks. I hope you are too. Will, thank you, dude. I appreciate it. I'm going to pick out some of the silver now. There's a little bit that needs to be done. So let us do that. That's what we shall do. And then after that, I think I might call it because it's just hit midnight here in Australia. And I can't fuck up my sleeping schedule too much, even though it is heading into the weekend. Your boy's got shit to do, you know. So for the silver, sorry, didn't show that. We're just using 2 thin coats, plate armor. It's a decent little silver. kind of like it's like lead belcher, but better because it's in a dropper bottle. How many years have I painted? Asked Peter. Consistently, I've probably painted for about coming on 3 years now. I started obviously when I was a kid, but I don't really count that because being a kid, I just kind of fluffed around. But I've been in Warhammer for a long time, and then I stopped when I was a teenager and only just picked it up again about 3 years ago. And I'll show you just to sort of give you guys an indication of like how much you can improve over time. After I get this silver, I'll show you some. I've got some of my older models, I think, still lying on my desk. When you look up from your phone and realize it's now midnight and you've been watching minifig painting the past few hours. Exactly, dude. It's the same here. I look up here and I realize, holy shit, I've been talking to you guys for like a few hours or a couple of hours or whatever. And painting, like it doesn't feel like it. It just goes very fast. That's right, the gun. That's where we wanted to pick out the silver. Looks great. Thank you, Slime. Slim. Why did I call you Slime? Slim Richmond. Thank you. Who's your favorite chapter master? Jake Smith. Whoa, that is a tough question. I like Gabriel Seth from the Flesh Terrors. I think he's a G. Just getting into the hobby, what are the best budget brushes you can recommend? I hear horrible things about the GW ones, which is why I ask. Yeah, the GW ones are just like overpriced dollar store ones. I reckon they're not great at all. Budget, I don't know if you'd call Artist Opus budget, but maybe if you wanted to begin there. I actually moved away from them. I used to use them quite a bit, but they deteriorated way too quickly and for random reasons. Like the hairs would just start randomly falling out, and I wasn't doing anything wrong, like out of the ordinary with the brushes. So I fucked them off. I was like, not using those anymore. So I spent a bit more money, albeit these are expensive brushes, but Raphael Kalinsky Sable is the brushes that I'm using at the moment, and they are top tier. I really like them. As much as you make fun of the blueberries, Calgar is dope. He is pretty cool. He is pretty dope. I think most chapter masters have to be dope, you know? Like imagine having just like a square as like your chapter master. Someone's just boring and dog shit. No thank you. As an insomniac also in Australia, I feel the statement so much. Yeah, dude. I know, right? I'm not even, I sleep really well. I just get too focused on doing stuff. I'm sorry to rub it in, but I do sleep very well. But yeah, I just get too excited to paint models and go live. So that's why I stay awake. Oh yeah, I forgot about Dante. Dante is a sick model, Jake. Definitely. Anavar, Inner Circle, just bought these guys. Probably gonna follow Codex colors though. Yeah, we're going black because we were requested. We did more green ones here if you wanted a bit more, I guess, standard green look. Just a bit of inspiration, but we've been asked to make them black. But two sides of the same coin. I got carried away before. I didn't even realize it didn't finish the white there, but that's alright. I might finish that off screen because it's a little bit tricky to get all those feathers of the icon painted on stream. Make sure I got all these other little bits done before we probably look to wrap things up in a minute. Warhammer 40k, hell yeah, Rose. That's exactly right. Is it a normal Dark Angel, or this is a Inner Circle Companion Dark Angel Warp Enigma. Buy cheap brushes when you start and cheap models to train. Don't start with Kalinsky. Just don't like buy $100. Yeah, exactly. You don't want to jump into the deep end if you had just started, because you don't even know if you're going to stick in the hobby. So just start out with a couple of cheap paints. Citadel's fine. Like, you don't want to go too cheap on the paints, because if they're like dollar store acrylic paints, your models will not look good no matter how well you can paint. But yeah, don't need to go crazy with your brushes. That's a good point, Peter. So I'm probably going to stop it here. I'll just keep reading through some of the comments just because we could keep going here, but there's a few things that I need to do off stream in order to do a decent job. But while I read through the comments, I'm going to show you some models and just put them on screen, so you've got something to look at while I'm yapping and reading the comments. Henry Cavill would be great. Yeah, don't dry brush with your expensive brushes unless you're already using old ones, and don't mind them getting destroyed. Arc, which is better, the old helmeted heads or the new Primaris ones? I originally didn't like the Primaris ones, but they've grown on me and I much prefer them now. But I do like this kind of knightly look. I will always like the knightly look over kind of all helmets. I think it looks really sick. Mr. C stayed for the cloak layering highlighting, not doing that today, amigo. It's getting quite late here, and that will take a bit of time because I'm actually using like a kind of glazy effect. If you wanted to, I think my last stream, you could probably just skip to the point there if you wanted to have a little look. Otherwise, I'll try and stream more next time on how to actually do that. But essentially, we'll do a really quick how-to because I appreciate you sticking around for so long. I don't want you to miss out on something that you're trying to learn. So the way that I do my cloaks, just in a quick fashion, but it yields pretty good results, is you base coat, right? The whole thing, like you've seen in this color, we've base coated. All we're doing there, from our base coat color, this Pro Acryl, dark burgundy, we're adding in a highlight color, and we're mixing, and we start off very minimal. So if I bring my palette into frame, you can see I've got these two colors here. So let's just say this is the base coat. I would add a little bit like this, and it's only slightly lighter. Make sure it's nice and thin, like that, right? And then what you'd want to do is, I'm just doing a very rush, so it might be a little bit too bright, I'm not sure. But what you want to do is do this scratchy motion, like that, on the areas where the light will hit the most. So obviously it's not going to hit right under here on the cloak because that's a dark shadow area, but it will bounce to about there, right? And you just repeat that across the entire model, like so. And so you can paint very quickly doing that and get a fair bit of texture built up. And then you just keep adding more and more of this rose brown, or brown rose, sorry, to build up the highlight color. And then you just do it in smaller areas over time, and that's how you build up the highlights. And that's sort of how I've done it on these green, the green guys here. You can see it's quite dark in the recesses, and it gets brighter and brighter and brighter, and then you do that tappy motion to get that bit of texture. If you spend a lot more time on it, you can get a much smoother result, as you can kind of see with this guy's tabard. Like, I spent more time doing it, and it looks smoother, and I would say, like, obviously it's a better paint job. And you can kind of see that tappy effect on the leather as well, how it looks a bit torn. So you can just kind of play around with it. Hopefully that helps. I did see your comment, taking the time. You're welcome, dude. Anytime. Happy to help with that. I'll just read through the rest of the minis while I keep showing, the rest of the comments while I keep showing you some of my other minis painted up. When you realize you've just sat here from start to finish on a plastic crack stream. Oh yeah, blood. You are a legend, Beanie, the whole time. What a G. Arc77, have you tried using airbrushes? I certainly have. Airbrush is one of my favorite tools. And I use this bad boy here, the Extreme Patriot 105 USA. What are my thoughts then? Santo, I think I answered that. I love it. It's a great tool. Very good tool to add to your arsenal if you are wanting to improve as a mini painter. What did you use for the green on the other mini? Asked Cromp. I just realized I was watching the first few minutes of this stream. So the green for this one, I'm assuming, is actually the same green as what's on these tabards, like that. So there's 3 greens there. I'll see if I've got them handy. I'll show you. Here they are. Dark green from Vallejo Game Color, Angel green, Scorpy green, all from the same range, Vallejo Game Color. This was through the airbrush, just kind of built up over time, and that was obviously hand painted with the tabards to get that bit of texture. These guys over here. This channel is the best thing the algorithm ever fed me. That is very kind of you. I'm glad it fed you this. Brother, I just got here. Can you do it all again? No worries, Runk. Here we go. Let's just start again. Here. We've got a brand new mini just for you, Runk. Let's just get painting, hey? Nah, dude, you're gonna have to come back. Yeah, come back and tune into the next one. What else do I have over here? Yeah, pick up this guy. Are these all 40k or Age of Sigmar? Yeah, pretty much all 40k. The Nurgle dude that you saw with the big axe, I think, can be used in both. Lost Hope minis, really silly question. Your video looks great. What are you using? This, where my hand is, this is just my phone. It's my iPhone 14 Pro. And this, where I'm looking at you guys, is my Logitech webcam. It's just a cheapo one. I think it was like $50 or something. Sorry to be annoying, but what air compressor do you use? I don't know the brand, unfortunately. I'm sorry. I paid about $200 for it. I can't tell you the brand. It has no branding on it either. It's just in a black box. So it has a black metal box surrounding it. if I could remember, I would tell you. Apologies. Heather, thank you very much, and thank you, Luke. And Harsh, this is from Warhammer 40,000. The greatest universe to ever exist in fantasy. What's the green you use for the green that you showed the customer that had to change it to black? I just showed that, Crump. So it's the dark green, angel green, and scorpy green from Vallejo Game Color are the 3 paints for that, to get that green color. Heather, you're the goat at painting miniatures. I like the blood angels, but the dark angels are also pretty cool. Thank you, Heather. That's very kind of you. I'll show you some red just to spice things. I know they're heretical blood angels, we'll call them that, but I like painting red. Amazing, great stuff. Love the channel. Been watching all your shorts. Thank you, dude. Appreciate it. If you guys are on TikTok as well, I actually have more shorts over there because that's where I began my journey into the content creation world. But I've been yapping here for like another 20 minutes, so I could keep commenting, reading your comments. It's good fun, but I do unfortunately have to get to bed, so I'm gonna have to call it there. I'll quickly speed run. Do you do volumetric highlights? Yes, I do. Do I have Tyranids? I have them on sprues. Do I like streaking grime? I love streaking grime. I'm very nice. Thanks. Appreciate it. What army do you like in 40k? I like a shit ton of them. I couldn't tell you a single one in particular. Do you choose chaos? I do chaos. And we love the chaos minis on camera. Hell yeah, you do. But yes, thank you very much for tuning in for so long. You guys are the best. If you haven't already, this is my Discord that I've just started, where you can share your works in progress, you can share your completed models, you can share your tips and tricks, whatever you like. Jump in there. Just starting. It's not the greatest server. I've made it myself. I don't really know what I'm doing. But yeah, we're learning on the way. But thanks for hanging out, you bloody legends. Sean, thank you, sir. You've just joined by the looks of it, but I will see you on the next stream. Good night, farewell, happy hobbying, and all the best. Adios. Bye.